book lovers. It's me, Andrea, and I'm here to do the Finally Fall Booktube tag. And it was originally made by Tall Tales channel, and I'll put the link to that video in the description. So the first part of the tag is, in the fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. I chose The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, and it's just the world that he created. It was so vivid for me reading the book. Well, all the books really, but the first book was my favorite, especially with the stuff that happens with Tom Bombadil, which unfortunately doesn't get put into the movies. But if you want to know all about Tom Bombadil, I guess you have to read the books. So that was my first one. The second is Nature is Beautiful, but Also Dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. I chose The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck, and it's about a couple living in China, and it's been so long since I've read it. I just remember that they went through a lot of hardship. The man lost his regular vocation that he was doing, so they had to move, and they had to do things. They had to do smaller things to earn a living, and they still made choices that would be honorable choices. It's a very beautifully written book. So I have to read it again because I can't remember everything that happened. 3, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. And for me, that book, the most recent one, would be Who I Am by Pete Townshend. And if you don't know, Pete Townshend is one of the members of The Who, which is a huge rock band, and they started out in the, I want to say, 60s and 70s. And in the book, Pete Townshend talks about, he talks about The Who, and he talks about the music scene at that time, but I think what I learned about was, I did learn about a lot of the history of rock during that time, including the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and a lot of smaller groups as well. Also, he mentions a lot of other groups and individuals, but he also talks very much about acoustics and recording. He designed different ways to record. Some like 4-channel recording he started with. He made a studio just for that in the 70s. It was something that was brand new. He came up with new ways to make acoustics, not just record them. One of the things people think of him, they think of him as being famous for banging the guitar around, like destroying the guitar. But really, when he destroyed the guitar, which a lot of people think of it as a thing saying freedom and whatever, he was trying to find a new way to make music with the guitar. He wanted to see what kind of sound it would make. So there was a lot of, it really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff I didn't really know about acoustics and sound recording. So if you're interested in any of that, or the history of modern rock, well, I guess it's not modern rock now, but if you're interested in any of that, I highly recommend Who I Am by Pete Townshend. Number 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be part of. Well, that's a no-brainer for me. That is the Weasley family. Okay, I love the Weasleys, especially the way that their family life is depicted in, I think the book is the 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 chalice. What is it called? Oh, for goodness sake, I can't think of the name of it. This is terrible. I should have wrote it down. The cup. Oh, for goodness sake, I'll write it in the description. But it is the same book where they end up going to the Quidditch World Championship or World. Well, I have to reread those books. It's been a long time. Okay. Number 5. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. I'm assuming they mean book spines. So that's what I got here. Let me see if I can pick it up. I just picked the ones that looked most like colorful leaves, so I've never read this Pirates book. It was one of my kids' ones. And this one, I don't think you can see what it says. It says guests. It's one. I have like I'd say 4 or 5 books about etiquette, and this one's about guests and entertaining, I believe. I like to look at ones from different time periods. I probably have more than 5 or 6 of those. There's certain books that I keep that I like collecting because I find them interesting, and that's one of the kinds. Number 6. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. Well, for that, I picked The Strange Tale of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I believe that it is a story that's told by the lawyer for Dr. Jekyll. Anyway, it's not a long story, and it's really interesting. I found it much more interesting than any of the movies. And it's more violent also, which probably doesn't sound like that could be true, but there's also violence against children in the book, which is not as often portrayed in movies. Number 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. I picked Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. And this is, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's about Danny Torrance, who is the same, it's Danny Torrance as an adult. He's the same character that was a boy in The Shining. I have never read The Shining. I probably should go back and read it, but I did read Dr. Sleep. It was either this year or last year, and it is excellent. Excellent writing. I've read all kinds of books by Stephen King, and through the years, some of his writing is good, some of it's okay, some of it's so-so, and some of it's great. And this book is excellent. So, and it is got some creepy stuff in it, but I won't go into any of that. But it also has really interesting stuff. Well, to do with psychic stuff, The Shining, and people passing away, and it just had some interest. Really, I can't go into it. I won't go into it because I won't know if I'm spoiling stuff. Number 8. The days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up anybody's cold and rainy days. A Redbird Christmas by Fanny Flagg. That is a short book, and it's definitely, it's a book about Christmas, but it's about a particular Christmas where a child gets saved. I don't mean saved like religious saved, but you'd have to read the story. And the thing is, I get a little sad around the holidays, and I actually found that book pretty comforting, I guess you would say. I don't know. I always recommend it to people. I know there are people that give that book as gifts to other people, so. But most of Fanny Flagg's stuff, I think I've talked about her before. She does a lot of stuff, a lot of books that are set in small towns, small southern towns, with interesting different characters and kind of hometowny type stuff. In this book, A Redbird Christmas, I think the people live on the Mississippi River, so it has, that was kind of interesting to me because the houses all kind of backed, they didn't back onto the river, but they had like these decks that go out onto the river, and they receive their mail from a boat on the river. Like a boat comes up, puts the mail in the mailbox, and then they go to that landing and get the mail. So I found that interesting. I haven't had the opportunity to travel along the Mississippi, so I would like to do that someday. Number 9. Yes, fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. Well, I'll say the Dark Tower series, which I'm in the process of rereading. I just reread the first and second books. The second book being The Drawing of the Three. I think the next one is The Wasteland, so I'm probably going to read that. In December because I just started reading Neil Gaiman's Fragile Things, which is a short story, and I'm finishing up Ready Player One with my husband, which is slow going because we read it to each other. 10. Fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. Well, I like to have a blanket or a nice sweater because I gotta cuddle up and tuck myself into the book. So, number 11 is spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. Well, if you're watching this video, I tag you. So if you do this video, please let me know in the comments below so I can come check it out. I hope everybody's having a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.